to meet the authors. We're here in St. Petersburg for this rather unusual interview with a fellow who goes by the name of
Gleb.
Gleb. And Mr. Gleb is a publisher, and he's been a publisher here for how many years?
40 years.
For 40 years, publisher here for 40 years. And how many books have you published?
Где-то больше 25 тысяч.
It's more than 25,000 different books.
Wow, 25,000 different titles.
Yes, exactly.
That's mind-boggling.
They sent photographers to different countries, even to Afghanistan they sent.
На раскопки.
So
For archaeological sites.
archaeological sites.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you do fiction as well as non-fiction, biographies? What kind of books? Children's books too?
Литературу
Нет,
тоже.
нет, в коем случае.
И детскую тоже нет. It's more like art book or historical book.
Oh, historical books. Okay. Yes, I see you.
Now, St. Petersburg, Moscow.
Эй, все уже, все.
And we can open. So book St. Petersburg and map of St. Petersburg. Moscow, book about Moscow and map of Moscow Kremlin.
Все, любовь, уже любовь.
So this is love already.
Are you a reader? And how did you get into being a publisher?
Раньше это называлось Высшее художественно-промышленное училище имени Мухина.
So he graduated from Applied Art School,
Okay.
where they actually teach how different design. So it may be design of book, design of clothes, whatever.
Я
So-
дизайн графику закончил.
So he design of graphic.
Graphic arts.
So it's they have very good professors of polygraphy,
Yes.
and so he knew everything about this from that time, of course. So he started to work as an artist for different publishing company, and then he was invited to this Aurora publishing company in 1985. First he was on charge of photo laboratory. Then he was sitting on 2 chairs.
Главный редактор и заместитель главного редактора.
So he was main editor and vice main editor.
Но зарплата была одна.
But they pay only one. They asked him to create courses, continuing education courses.
I see. So
Здесь,
you
ведь, в Ленинграде.
Here in St. Petersburg.
okay, you taught at the university.
It was special for continuous education of people who work for publishing companies, for artists who work for publishing
Like a
companies.
trade school type specialty.
Yeah.
Did you have issues with censorship during the Soviet years?
Была ли с цензурой проблема в советское время?
Цензурой?
Цензурой, да.
Я ее не ощутил.
He said, I didn't feel it.
Oh,
So
Могу сказать один случай.
only one case he can remember.
Это когда делали книгу, вот, предшествующую этой, по Балкану.
So before this book, they made a book about siege or about blockade of Leningrad. Censor saw
Really?
that they put amount of people who died in Leningrad
Oh, yeah.
more than actually was officially declared.
Oh, I see.
So this is what was the only case when
А
they
на самом
said.
деле цифра была гораздо больше.
And he said, but in reality, a number was even more than they were going to.
Wow.
So this book was published in 4 languages, and each one, on each language, it was 20,000 books. They were told that you have to destroy it.
Oh.
You did it?
Нет. Я придумал способ, как заменить цифру в каждой книжке.
So he invented the way how to change number in each book.
Oh, I see.
And they change number in a book with some
Я
device.
машинку придумал.
Like
такую, да.
white out.
with some stamp.
Yeah, stamped over the
Yeah.
old number.
And but it was only in Russian, not other languages.
Показали, мы сказали, хорошо.
So they show that we change it, and they say,
Молодцы,
"That's okay."
перепечатали.
So they
Перепечатали.
changed
Wonderful.
the Russian editions,
what
but the other
единственное-
editions they just
Yeah,
sent out with
yeah,
the real
but
number.
they were told that they have to you have to destroy, but they found a way just to change
Change
it,
the number.
and then they said we republished it,
Yeah.
so everything is fine.
Да.
That's a good story.
Так что по миру пошла книжка с правильной цифрой.
So he said that in 3 different languages it was right number, only in Russian.
Only in Russian.
Yeah.
Поскольку
The main censor was that time. He was
Really?
writer himself,
Okay.
so he wasn't really bad guy.
Oh, I see. Did you feel like the history was slanted towards the any one viewpoint?
Even publishing company feels that something needs to be changed, and they discuss with author and Dmitry Likhachev, quite famous Russian historian, art historian, and so and they discuss with him, and if something needs to be changed, and sometimes it's changed.
When you had published a lot of books, and you had a lot more than would sell, I know that I personally publish books, and I have a closet full of published books that I don't know what to do with.
So he said that in Soviet time it wasn't the problem. Good books was just flying away.
Oh,
Actually, people were standing in line to get good
I
books,
see.
like art books. Right now, yes, there is some problem with probably selling everything, because people who are interested, really like intellectual, in many cases they don't have enough money to buy the books.
Ну, вообще
This
2
is
года.
the problem.
2 года распространения такое.
But
Нормально.
usually in 2 years it's
Sold out.
sold out.
This book was written by Gleb and his wife. And what is this book about?
This is about a palace in Tver. Tver, it's like central Russia.
Ну, вплоть до реставрации. То есть и реставрацию тоже мы заставили.
So it's about restoration of the palace, and so it's some history of the palace.
Мне стало интересно, все путевые дворцы, история, откуда они взялись.
And he,
Поднял историю путевых дворцов.
So it's when Tsar was traveling, they have on their way some palaces, where they can have rest, and so these special palaces. One of them is here.
and it's a book about restoring a particular castle in the middle of Russia, and it is full of the photos of the history, the people who lived in it, and the plans and the restoration methods. Tell us how you came to make this book.
He traveled extensively in Russia. So in one of his travel, he saw this palace actually in ruins.
Oh.
But then when he learned that it's almost restored, he decided that he would like to write a book about it.
До моего прихода все было прервано.
So it was a set of this kind of books was published during Soviet time. It was traditional for them. So right now it's kind of what we call like hot pies just flying.
Yeah. Oh, great.
Причем люди купили эту, значит, купят следующую.
Yeah. So if one person bought this particular book, then they want another book from this set.
Same series,
Но
yeah.
So
она
it's-
по цене как шоколадка.
So it's not expensive. It's like
No.
chocolate bar,
Okay.
price of
Грубее
chocolate bar,
бутылка пива.
or bottle of beer.
Это новая книжка.
So every 2 months they publish new
A
book.
new one, all right. That will keep the audience running there. I like that concept. They always say series do well.
Сделал книжку о нем написал.
This is
About your
Папе.
This is a book what Gleb wrote about his father.
a book about your father. I love this. I have a book myself I wrote about my father. There's a watercolor of his father. It's all in Russian, of course. There's some childhood photos.
This is what was like a word.
I like that. Well, this is definitely my favorite book of the ones you've shown me. This is his paintings. These are his paintings.
Да, он
Yes,
путешествовал
this is
очень много.
he traveled a lot around Russia too, and this
Черное
is his
море,
painting.
Ленинград, Таллин.
Сказал, что это его самое ему больше всего понравилась эта книга.
Да?
Да.
Сейчас попробуем целую найти. Здесь рухнуло. Эти детские... Ну,
Would you like to have this one? Да.
Yes.
Нет,
Да.
Будешь писать?
Would like to do this too.